The bill is written. The price is about to be released, but we're already getting leaks on how the Senate is reportedly planning to pay for its massive health care overhaul with income tax hikes. And someone here says that's the last thing this job market needs. Hello, everybody. I'm Cheryl Casoni, and welcome to Cashin In. Our Cashin In crew this week, all of our regulars here in New York City today. Wayne Rogers, Jonathan Honig, Jonas Max Ferris, along with Tracy Burns and John Layfield. Also joining us today, Christian Dorsey of the Economic Policy Institute. Welcome to everybody. Okay, here's the thing. Reports out say the Senate health plan would jack up payroll taxes on the wealthy. Wayne, what does that do, though, to the job market eventually?
It hurts the job market. That's what it does. Any time you raise taxes historically, it has hurt the job market. You can't create jobs by raising taxes. You lower taxes. That's what creates jobs. And as a matter of fact, in 2004, whenever it was the last tax adjustment, when the taxes were lowered, jobs were created. The revenue to the federal government, by the way, increased, too, because more people got up into brackets where they could pay taxes. So it works for everybody.
You know what, Christian, it seems like it's the trickle-down effect. That's the argument when it comes to hurting jobs by raising taxes on the wealthy.
Unfortunately, that's just wrong. We had in the 2000s a jobless recovery, even though tax cuts were given predominantly to wealthier folks. But let's look at this in real terms. What we're talking about in the Senate is maybe increasing the payroll tax by 0.5%. What that would mean to somebody making $250,000 a year is an extra $1,250 in taxes over the course of the year. That's less than a Starbucks latte a day.
Well, but they earn.
I don't think they're going to fire the nanny or fire the gardener over that.
They might.
For one thing, they earn it. It is their money, and it's not yours to redistribute to anybody. And this notion of, oh, Cheryl, it's just another percent, it's just another 1.5%. You know, in 1935, Social Security started out, I believe, as a 2% tax. That's 12% now. So to believe that, oh, it just starts with 1%, it'll stay like that, and oh, the rich are already rich. I mean, our own history does not bear that thesis out.
The redistribution of wealth, once again, is coming up here, John. Once again, that is the topic on how to pay for health care reforms. And with 10.2% unemployment right now.
This is a massive populist message. It's so easy to say, hey, free pizza for everybody. We're just going to get the rich kids to pay for it. It is so stupid. It does not work. We are dealing with who's going to pay for this. We're not dealing with the problem, and that is health care is inefficient. All we're talking about is who's going to pay for it. And you want to talk about jobs in 2000? We've had the biggest peak-to-trough job loss since the Great Depression. If we are in a straight V-shaped recovery, it's going to take 23 months to get those jobs back. If we quit losing jobs today, which we're not going to do. You do this, U-shaped recovery, it'll take 5 years to get those jobs back.
I think what bothers me the most about it, though, and to Christian as well, is that everyone's so glib about taxing the so-called wealthy. And the wealthy these days, it's not like they're multimillionaires. The Obama administration is calling people who make not a lot of money, especially in areas like New York, California, those high, expensive states. They're calling us wealthy, and meanwhile, we're living paycheck to paycheck. And these are people, they're wealthy. Why? Because they work. They work 24/7. They sacrifice time with their families. They build their businesses from the ground up. And now you're saying it's my responsibility, it's our responsibility to pick up the slack.
But hold on, Jonas.
It is our responsibility.
Christian,
why is it my responsibility when I get up every day and come to work and I'm here and I miss dinner with my kids? Why?
Because you're going to go on Medicare someday and someone's got to pay for it. I mean, the bottom line, government health care spending is a bankrupt concept because we don't pay for it and we promise too much. And what we've been seeing here lately is cuts to Medicare, which we need, by the Democrats, which is amazing, frankly, not enough. And we're seeing tax increases to pay for Medicare and government health care, which we need. Because in the short run, raising taxes is bad for jobs. Wayne is right. But I'm worried about 10, 20, 30 years out when this whole system goes bust because we're not paying for it now. And frankly, the alternative to soaking the rich, which is not a great system, is soaking the young. Because that's what Medicare does. It makes young people pay for old people to get free government health care. And that needs to be stopped before young people get nothing later, and that's worse than rich people paying for it.
Well, here's the thing, though, Wayne. I mean, let's go back to the jobs here for a second. Medicare aside, that's a whole nother debate for another show. But with the jobs picture, what he is saying makes a good point. You're taxing the young to pay for the old, and frankly, the wealthy do employ people and they do spend money, and they're not going to be spending as much if they're taxed at a higher rate.
Well, honor my friend Jonathan, who's here, he was right about.
Don't be nice on my account.
No, I know, but it's a point he made about Social Security. Social Security started, and it's not a pay-as-you-go system. It's paying for the. In other words, we're taxing people now, and that money did not get invested. It's an unvested system. In other words, that money, as soon as you get your Social Security, you pay Social Security, it's spent. It's already gone. So the Social Security is in the toilet. It is upside down because it was not invested. They took that money and spent it right away. Same thing is going to happen with their health care.
Right, and you know, to Julian's point, oh, it's another $1,200. Well, you know what? Some of us are small business people here, and that $1,200 could go to buying a piece of equipment, to employ someone, to actually grow the economy, to create wealth. That's the process that doesn't
Christian,
happen.
I think his point is for small businesses, you can hire more people, and many wealthy people are actually small businesses that are filing that way.
Absolutely, absolutely. But again, we're talking about less than a latte a day to fix a system that is broken and needs restructuring. And we also must keep in mind that we went through an entire decade where disproportionately people at the upper end of the income stream receive the majority of tax cuts. This is taking just a small piece of it back.
Christian, so let's assume you're right. But go to Jonathan's point. That's exactly the way, as he said, Social Security started. This is just the beginning. Nobody's saying you're necessarily wrong about $1,250, but that's not where it's going to stop, and you know that.
And the problem is not paying. The problem is not whether it's a latte a day. The problem is what the government spends. The government gets a latte a day. They give away 10 a day. Look, you have $60 billion worth of fraud in Medicare every single year, and we're talking about who's going to pay for Medicare. Let's fix the boat first before we start building staterooms on that boat.
Well, we'll see what happens with the Senate version, and we'll see, because there's a House version and a Senate version, and you need to watch this show because we're trying to keep track of it, and we are keeping track of it for you.